Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning, Wendy. How are you?
I'm well.
Oh, that's good. But you haven't been. You have actually had a few bumps in the road.
Yeah. It's been an interesting last 10 days. Very interesting last 10 days.
What don't you tell our audience about what's going on with you and what you've actually been doing as well to help heal yourself? Because many people out there are probably struggling like right now, and self-care is probably something. Well, I do know from the workshop that I did last weekend, self-care has been one of the things that probably has been lower on the list than it should be.
Yeah, and I think that we probably don't give ourselves permission to have people in our corner. But I've been big on this the whole time. So Monday week ago, I decided my yoga room is all coming together beautifully, and I had to go and pick up the yoga mats. And so they were in this mighty big box in the back of the car. And instead of me waiting, because a man had given the guy I bought, the couple I bought it off, the guy had put it in the car for me. But when I got home, I was going to be legendary, and I was going to carry them in, and I was going to go down and start to lay them out. And I shouldn't have done that, because I accidentally or by design, who knows, but I lost grip on the box and, of course, jarred my back. Now, I didn't then Tuesday, I was like, oh, I'm a bit sore, but, and then Wednesday I was like, oh, I'm really sore. Thursday I had a client. I was like, oh, I just can't move. So I took the time on Wednesday, Tuesday being the public holiday. Yeah. I took the time to rest, because that was what came through. And in the meantime, I did what we call fast aid in our body talk.
Yeah.
Pardon me. And I kept doing, I've done fast aid every day, like up to 3 times a day each day. And fast aid is like a first aid, but in a conscious-based modality.
Yep.
By Thursday, I had a client, and as soon as the client left, I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I really struggled to do the work with her. Thursday night I couldn't move. Friday I couldn't move at all. So I was like, I have got to get somebody to help. So I got back in touch with my acupuncturist. Now, Yan Ping I have been seeing for 13 years.
Yeah, wow.
And she is wonderful, beautiful, traditional Chinese. She does the cupping she uses the flame, not the, the new fandangle ones are the ones you put on and you press the button to suck. She does the old style where you run the rim with the flame, and that's, that creates the suction.
Yeah.
And then, so all I've been doing is really turning to those people that I have in my corner. So I always have a chiropractor and an osteopath usually. Well, I can't get in. I'm seeing my osteopath next week. My acupuncturist, my Ayurvedic massage therapist and doctor of Ayurvedic. I saw him yesterday. So just putting all of these things. So my chiropractor on Saturday. So I'm just putting all these things in place. Now, sometimes, when you have so much treatment, it can be overwhelming for the body. But, the greatest lesson is it's going to be no one size fits all. It's going to be you tapping into your body to know how you feel and whether your body is able to take on the healing that's being offered. Yeah. And so, I really struggled, because I was put on 3 days of bed rest over the weekend, and I really struggled.
I'm going to ask you. While I'm listening to you, I'm for those of you listening to us, I've actually held up the Louise Hay You Can Heal Your Life book, and I've actually gone straight to the back of her symptoms and her problems and probable cause. And yes. The reason I've asked Wendy, where is it in her back, the lower, middle, or upper? Because in this book, I'm going to then read out where that's about. So where is it, Wendy? Your lower, your middle, or your upper?
It's actually lower, and it's lumbar. I can find.
Well, in Louise's book, the lower is fear of money, lack of financial support. And you need to say, I trust the process of life. All I need is always taken care of. I am safe. Now, I also had a look in my favorite secret language of your body book. And it says, feeling unsupported, overwhelmed, and too much pressure. Carrying suppressed and unresolved emotions from the past. The lower back is feeling insecure about how you'll support yourself financially, constantly worrying about your survival and how you're going to pay the bills, holding on to unresolved anger from childhood, feeling like a victim, struggling, suffering, controlling, focused on ambitions, limitations and negativity, why you can't do things instead of how you can. Now, as we know, when you read these, it doesn't mean every single one of those. You just have to try and tap into what is going on for you. But the remedy they're saying is focus on your back. Breathe deeply and slowly arching your back and carving your lower spine. Then as you breathe, bring your head forward and allow your back to straighten. And it goes on to give you a lot of beautiful energies like divine healing intelligence. I asked you to resolve all the worry, emotional, mental baggage I carry. Blah, 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 and just clear. And so we can do this work ourselves, and Wendy does a lot of work herself, as well as engaging all those people that she has in her corner. Did any of that resonate with you, Wendy?
Yeah, and if you go further into Louise's book, she has the chart, the spinal misalignments.
Oh, yep.
And so mine was all around the sacral joints. So the sacrum,
okay.
and
what's
the
that?
and
I'm
the
just going back into that now.
And L5. So L5's insecurity, difficulty in communicating, anger, inability to accept pleasure. And the sacrum, loss of power, old stubborn anger. Now it's interesting because there has been like my communication, there has been a difficulty in business wise and communicating because I've had to say no. And I've really struggled with saying no. And the other thing is the inability to accept pleasure. One of the greatest things that I have always struggled with, and everyone who is as a solopreneur does, giving yourself permission to have that downtime.
Yes. Well, that's what I said to you. That's why I'm changing direction for a while.
Yeah. So having that pause button to say, you know what, I'm going to work here, but I'm not going to work there.
Yes.
And this was brilliant in the fact that I actually had no time at the computer.
Yes, because you couldn't sit there.
I couldn't move here. I couldn't.
It was making you really take a good deep look within, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I used all of my yoga, my pranayama, all of the stretching, the really good back exercises. And interesting that laying on the yoga mat, if you were to do a sequence with me or with my teacher, laying on your belly on the yoga mat is what aids the back, even though we think that it's not. We think that what we want to do is we want to bend and we want to bring the body up like this so it stretches the back joints. Well, that's not what we want to do. We want to lay down. So we want to give the lower back permission to be still. And and it was where I got the greatest comfort. That was the greatest comfort that I got over the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because we were just talking before we press record about I'm having to say no, because I have always been, people will get in touch and I will just give away, when in actual fact my business says, you need to join the mastermind to get that level of support, because that's what I do there. That's how I work. So it's really interesting. It's never wrong. It's never this work is brilliant for that it really does identify where you need But
Yeah.
yeah, I did The Art of Living with Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, so did I.
And
Didn't get as much out of it as what I thought I would. But I wanted to go back and rewatch it again, and then I didn't end up. I was with my mum, so I didn't get time.
yeah, but
Which
there
I
was
a
one
bit
of the
disappointed
things
about.
that even because I mean he talks about, and his book is brilliant, as in the red light, green light
Yeah.
thing.
My
But it
problem, I
was,
was watching it when I watched it live.
yeah,
So I was exhausted because
I
I
was
hadn't gone
too.
to bed. I hadn't actually gone to bed. I
Oh, see,
stayed up, did my tax, and then went straight into that. And that was a big mistake because one of my friends had said that there wasn't a replay, but I actually thought that there was going to be, and then there was, and then I didn't get back to watch the replay, which was a bugger.
yeah. Well, I got up and I was like, you know, it was cool. It was cold. Like that's when our cool weather came in, and of course my back was like, oh. And so I took my laptop out on the couch, but the same thing. I was exhausted because I'd been to bed, and then you get up and you're kind of bleary eyed, and it's like, do you really take it all in? I mean, it was 6 hours.
Yeah, and then they just like they were going well into. I know I had because I went to the dawn service because that's what I did. Then I went straight to the dawn service, and they were still going. And then when I got finished the dawn service, they were still going.
Yep, they were. And one of the things, even in the lead up, that Marie Forleo was talking about was about giving, you know, that downtime, being able to stop.
Yeah.
Because you got to, you know, what did she say? You got to stop to do more, or whatever it was, were her exact words.
Yes, yes.
Because we just go and go and go and go. Where is it? Yeah, she says I don't do overwhelm. She stopped the yes, unless it's a full body yes. And when you say I don't, it equals a choice empowered. When when you say no or I don't, it's a choice. It's empowered. It's expressing our love for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really, and Trent Shelton, he was another really good one. But that was the big thing, have a look at your red lights and take your green, like the gratitude is your green light out of everything.
Absolutely.
And so me sitting there with this aching back, I was like, oh, I'm taking the green light out of this one. That it's actually given me, otherwise I would have been up on the bike. We got to go on into dawn service in the city, and I wouldn't have listened to any of it. But yeah, watching the replay was really good. But in one of the emails from Marie earlier was about, taking that time to do less. You do less and you achieve more.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I believe that you have, and I've done this for years and years and years. Health is your greatest wealth. It's not until you're laid up and you think, oh my God, I've got all this stuff to do. But then you got to take the green light with that, is just give yourself permission that you've got an opportunity to slow down and stop. But who do you have in your corner? For me, I've always had a naturopath, a acupuncturist, an osteopath, a chiropractic, my Ayurvedic. I still turn to my yoga. Like there's all of these things, and of course a coach, because you have to look after and you still have your faith, but honey, you got to do your mind, body, spirit thing.
Yeah, I don't have the amount of people that you have. But yes, I do agree with the coach and having someone to guide you however that best works for you. And however that works for you as far as, how you're working with that person as well.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And we do maintenance, what they call maintenance, because I just believe that if you keep everything in alignment and you keep everything nice and healthy,
yeah,
you're not going to experience the downside of, one of the greatest things that I took out of all of the training I've done with yoga is we have the opportunity to not let an old body take over our body, you know, an old person take over our body.
Yeah.
You know, and I am really quite adamant that I you know, I don't, pardon me, I would prefer to do what I do, to not let that old body, the old person take over my body, rather than do the fillers and the Botox and the everything else, because that is artificial, and not giving you good health. Whereas, you know, this is just practicing good health. So
yeah, and it's really important that you work out what works for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you really have to do the mental work to assist with your physical work.
Yeah. Yep. Otherwise you're just masking it again.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
You know, I've had to, over the last, I reckon over the last 18 months, I feel like I'm continually kicking my own ass.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it's like, what are you doing that for? You know, like continually, and I have a family that keeps me fairly grounded as well. It's like, oh, well, you know, you always say that you do this and that with your clients, but you're doing exactly the same thing now as they are. So, and they quite often will very happily remind me when I have fallen off track.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is important that you have something to be able to get you back on track.
It's so funny. It's like, then you go into, and we spoke about overwhelm. You go into that state of overwhelm. That state of overwhelm is because the health of your mind is not quite on par with where,
no, that's right.
You know, for you to have a happy and peaceful life, and be in flow, then yeah, you can get into that state, can't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, look, I actually had one of my long-term clients and now turned friend, you know, when I was telling her that I'm looking in a totally different direction, she goes, I knew something was going on with you, you know, because I had changed so much of my stuff, you know, like I've gone quiet on social media. I'm looking at life very different. And you would know this very much when you're going into your 60th year. Well, actually, you're in your 60th year because, you know, when you were born, if you actually, you know, you're not one until you're 12 months here. This is your 60th year on the earth plane. And you know yourself how you have to just continually look at where you are, because we're changing continually. And over the last 5 years, we've had so much change. Who are we? We're totally different people.
Yeah. Yep. And, you know, I think that you have to be prepared to, you can't not change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you, as you evolve, like, you know, we move through these years, what becomes a priority, all our priorities change. Our values largely will develop. You know, everyone's got values. You're born with, you know, you're born into a family that educates you on values, because that's your first lot of teaching, really.
Yeah.
You know, and then as you know, go through the ages, your values become your own, and then you embody them even more as you move through the time. So I think that whole, you know, we just had last weekend, our combined, we have a reunion, you know, each major milestone birthday for all of us that went to school together.
Oh, great.
And it was in Cairns, and again, I was here. And so didn't make it, but love to see the pics, and you know, still keep in touch with those same people that I went to school with. And it just makes you, yes, I would love to have been there, but my priority is my health, you know. And again, it's about what we deem to be what's best for us at that particular point in our lives.
And that's one of the things I was saying at my workshop on the weekend, is we do have to continually look at where we are and who we are. because we are continually changing.
Yeah.
And what suited us even last week may not suit us now.
And it's okay.
To let it go.
It's the big thing. It's okay if it's not the same as what it was last week.
Stop trying to hold on to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of, being so dogmatic, like, oh, that's what it was. And that's, I need to be that same person. You're not the same person.
No.
Every day you're a different person.
Excuse me. Absolutely. And I think that's one of the big things I personally have been working on in my inner growth is, for me, I talk about the last 5 years because, before COVID, we had fires and all sorts of stuff happening around us. And so for me, there's like, it's just been like this. When I sat down not too long ago, and actually I think it was during your mastermind, when I was doing your mastermind, I actually sat down and wrote all the things I'd achieved in my business, which was really important. That was part of some of the work we were doing with you, because too often we focus on what we haven't done. We don't celebrate what we have done.
Yeah.
And, but I actually, in my personal life, I sat down and wrote all of the lows, basically. I don't normally focus on the lows, but this particular one, I was like, what are those speed humps I had to get over? I looked at, my daughter had sugar diabetes, and then her husband had health issues. Then she ended up in emergency surgery when the baby was 2 weeks old, and we moved in with her, and it just went from there. And I went back with all of that. And that was, my husband retired, my work life, my business balance changed. And I went back and looked at all of that. And I really realized why I'm where I am now. I'm not saying that I didn't need to learn that. I didn't need to, I'm not saying that I needed to experience, I absolutely obviously needed to experience that. But even just through each of those speed humps, I totally changed. Things happened in all of those different events that totally changed me every single time. And even now, like as we talked about last week, how, we bought our camper van and, we're off on a brand new adventure now again.
Yeah.
And again, who am I? Who am I this? We don't even realize it. We think sometimes that we have to do this full-on transformation. But I think we're probably doing mini transformations all the time, which really has got me looking within. I did a labyrinth on the weekend, and it's taken me even a bit deeper, because obviously you go straight into your heart space, and then all this stuff comes up. Really, really interesting when I did it the way the lady actually told. I've walked labyrinths before, but never really the way I did it on the weekend. And so it's taken me a deeper place into, I'm telling people all the time about their own self-care. I actually let my own slip. And I think we even talked about that on our last one as well.
Yeah.
How, we really have to stay on top of ourselves.
Well, what's going to do it for us? No one.
That's exactly right.
We have to be responsible to look after the temple.
Yeah, totally.
To choose in every given moment to be at peace and be happy. Because at the end of the day, it can be an awful long time friggin' miserable.
Yes.
For no reason, really.
And especially with all the environmental changes around us at the moment. Interest rates are going up. We were having a conversation last night, myself and a couple of girlfriends, talking about, and you would very much well know this, the last time interest rates got up, we had our loan for our place that we had at the time got up to 19.5%, I think it was.
Yeah.
But I said to them, I remember that, but I don't remember that. Does that make sense? It's like, I don't remember how quick it went up or slow it went down or whatever. And one of the ladies said, oh yeah, she was working in the bank at the time, and she said it was up for a long time, but then it came down really quickly.
Yeah.
And she said she remembered because she was having to send out letters to people all the time about how the interest rates had gone. She said email was really just becoming a thing. And so she said, I felt like we were always sending emails out to people, to our stuff, to our clients. And so it's like, that is a totally different change in life as well. And we're sort of going in that again, but it's different. And yeah, we just have to really be continually looking at ourselves, readjusting our needs, because the self-care that I was doing 6 months ago, 12 months ago, is that, do I need to mix that up, and how do I need to mix that up? And it's a bit like, you know, we were laughing about you taking some stuff to help your back and you couldn't actually swallow it. That's really like life, isn't it?
Yeah. Isn't it what? Yeah.
So that probably, for something else, that might have worked perfect for you and you could keep that down. But this time around, that wasn't working for you, but the other stuff that you were taking was.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we really have to continually be looking at what is working for me. What is, what do I need now? What does my body need now? What do I need here? And basically, that's your own self-help. That is self-care. That's self-help for yourself. What is your own self-exploration?
Yeah. Yep. It is. And acknowledging, you know, and probably being able to go with the flow. You know, this was
Flexibility.
15 minutes, 15 mil that had to go in 50 mil of water, and I just seriously couldn't drink it. But will I try and put that into a veggie cap and try that as another option? Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
You know, so you've always got to, in life, you've got to pivot. I liken it to a basketball game. You know, if there's something blocking you there, you pivot away, and you'll make the shot if you really want to make the shot.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was doing the shakes before Easter and we did really well. Hubby and I were doing great. And what it did was, and you know, like I'm not getting reimbursed for talking about shakes, and I'm not even going to say who I'm doing it with. But for us, I'd never done shakes before. But what it did for us, it changed our eating habits, because we were writing down when we were having our shake and when we were having our snack and when we were having our shake and our meals. And so it actually made us take a really good deep look inside. Even we fell off we picked our van up and we had our grandson and life fell off. But we both have said one of the important things from that is, yes, we've gone and had our treats, but in between that, where we can, we're sticking to the salad or the wraps or the veggies, or minimizing the size of our portions.
Just being conscious of what you're putting in your mouth and making better choices.
Exactly. And so that's all part, again, that's all your self-care.
Yeah, it is.
Valuing yourself enough to go, well, yeah, I can keep going back to the simple way. That's really easy. Go back and eat whatever, we got into a really bad habit. Or allow yourself the treats, but keep going back. And that's about what I was saying to you. You've got to continually reevaluate, where are you at right now? If you're going through so much in your life and it's so stressful, there's no point trying to actually put yourself on a really strict diet. It might be the worst thing for you ever.
Or trying to throw everything, like you want instant change. Always remember, the chrysalis, the butterfly doesn't come out of the chrysalis in just moments.
No.
It's a process, and you can see, you know, there's videos on YouTube with a time lapse of how it all happens. That's us. So when we want to birth a new habit and we want to birth a new being, like us as new beings, it has to happen, you know, over a period of time, and it has to be that you start to introduce something in and do that same thing consistently. The chrysalis, the butterfly will never get out of the chrysalis or the chicken won't get out of the egg if it doesn't continually hit at the same spot to crack.
Yes.
You know, so you really you have to be prepared to do the work, and to do the work, some of us, you know, some people just don't even know where to start though.
I love that. I love the chicken. The chicken can be the chicken can be a fertile egg, and the hen hatches it. Like the hen actually lays on it and
Yeah.
makes it ready to hatch, but it still has to crack that shell to get out itself.
Yeah. Yeah. So, nothing in life will work unless you do.
Yeah.
And
I love
so
that. I love that
if
analogy.
if you really do need some strategies, I guess you call them, of where to start, if just by writing down, like just take your diary and write down, if weight is an issue for you, if you want a healthier way of being, don't change anything, just write down what it is that you're eating.
Yes.
Because
yes.
then that's the conscious you saying, okay, I really didn't realize I was eating all of that. You're
Well,
mindless eating instead of mindfully eating.
yes.
And then that gives you that empowers you to make the changes that you want. And it might be that you're just dropping one or two things out of that list.
That is so true, because even when we had our treat days, which become not once a week, they became a bit naughty. Even though we didn't pig out on chocolate and things like that, we were in situations where we didn't always have access to be able to have our shake, or because we were out with other people and things like that.
Yeah.
But what we would say to each other is we were more conscious and mindful after writing it down for 3 weeks. And one of the favourite things was we were picking healthier choices, and we were going, well, the good part about this is, okay, we've not done what we should have, but we've actually made a better choice.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is with anything, it doesn't have to be weight. When you make that better choice for you, I think that's absolutely self-care.
Yeah. Yep. I've got another girlfriend who's just got in touch to let me know she's lost 42 kilos. And
wow.
And she's done it through making the changes that she needed to make. This is nothing to like this whole thing that we're doing here is nothing to do with promoting weight loss or whatever.
No, it's just
to show you
we're both on.
Yeah, but it's to show you as well that it doesn't matter whether it's your health, as in what I do for physicality, you're moving and whatever, or weight loss, or balancing hormones, or whatever it is, but none of it happens unless you check in with the 6 inches between these ears.
Absolutely.
And the way to do that, when we're talking about strategies, you're going to write down all the food, you're going to write down the shit that's in your head, you're going to start to have a look at what triggers you to reach for poor choices, or to fill your diary up that dang full that there's no time left for you. How that's that journaling
or
thing,
be that people pleaser that at the expense of yourself.
Exactly. And it really is about I like it starts off with a pen and paper. Everything starts off with pen and paper. Start to journal, start to write down the stuff that's really bothering you, start to have a look at what choices you're making and how you can make different choices. But don't think that you're going to do it all in one day, because that is just that's setting yourself up for failure. And just know that it's a work in progress. So one of the greatest books that in my oil team that I go through, and I do it 3 times a year, and it's a book called The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. Now,
she's the lady that did The Secret, wasn't she?
Yeah, but that book is actually not a book that you read. It's actually a book where there is exercises. There's a written verse and there's exercises to do every single day. And how I got put onto that was I was in a business mastermind, and it was a freedom group, and that was one of the core things we had to do. And if you didn't do that, you got kicked out.
Right.
Yeah. But
and so did this come out before The Secret, or did this come out afterwards?
After.
Okay.
But it's a how-to guide. And it's, so if you're really struggling and you don't even know where to start, go and pick that book up. I think you can get it for like $8 at Big W.
Well, I'm actually just looking at it on Amazon at the moment, and it says, and look, please know that Wendy and I are not absolutely in any way, when we talk about these resources, we are not being reimbursed or anything for that. We actually just like to tell you about the tools that we use and that have helped us.
Yep.
This says, in The Magic, Rhonda Byrne reveals life-changing knowledge about the power of gratitude that was hidden within a 2,000-year-old sacred text. Then on an incredible 28-day journey. So she actually takes you on the journey in the book, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And how you apply this life-changing knowledge in your everyday life. Wow. Okay.
Let me just see.
It says paperbacks from $1.23, but obviously I'm not in the Australian one. I'm not. Because I have a bad habit of doing that.
I could get it. It's up there on my shelf. I'll just read you one verse out of it. Just a second.
Okay, great.
So that's the book. It's called The Magic. Yep. Mine's like, and I've still got my.
And you said you got it from Big W, did you?
Yeah, I tell everyone to go to Big W and get it.
Yeah, Big W is amazing.
Because it's like, it was like $8. So yeah, right. Let's have a look at day number 1 is called, so there's a couple of what do you call them? Chapters. Yep. One of them is called Bring the Magic into Your Life. And I've got a part here, is your life magical? Just take a look at all the major stress in your life: money, health, happiness, career, home, and relationships. The areas of your life that are abundant and wonderful are where you have used gratitude and are experiencing the magic as a result. So number 1 is day number 1 is count your blessings. And I write dates on here of when I do it. So, and then I have my little journal that sits in the back that I write, because you write each day.
And how long have you been doing that for?
I started doing this in 2018.
Wow, okay.
So we do it 3 times a year. So day 1, count your blessings. When I started, so the quote by Willie Nelson, when I started counting my blessings, my whole life turned around. You'll have heard people say to count your blessings. And when you think about the things you're grateful for, that's exactly what you're doing. But what you may not have realized is that counting your blessings is one of the most powerful practices you can ever do. And it will magically turn your whole life around. When you're grateful for the things you have, no matter how small they may be, you will see those things instantly increase. If you're grateful for the money you have, however little, you'll see your money magically grow. If you're grateful for a relationship, even if it's not perfect, you'll see it miraculously get even better. If you're grateful for the job that you have, even if it's not your dream job, things will begin to change so that you enjoy your job more. And all kinds of opportunities for your work will suddenly appear. The flip side is that when we're not counting our blessings, we can fall into the trap of unintentionally counting negative things. We count negative things when we talk about the things we don't have. We count negative things when we criticize or find fault with other people, when we complain about traffic, waiting in lines, delays, the government, not enough money, or the weather. When we count negative things, they increase too. But on top of that, with every negative thing we count, we cancel our blessings that were on their way. I have tried both, counting my blessings and counting negative things. And I can assure you that counting your blessings is the only way to have abundance in your life. Better to lose count while naming your blessings than to lose your blessings in counting your troubles. As that was Maltby D. Babcock, a quote. First thing in the morning or as early in the day as you can, count your blessings. You can write out your list by hand, type it on a computer, or use a special book or journal, and keep all of your gratitude in one place. Today, you are going to make a simple list of 10 blessings in your life you are grateful for. When Einstein gave thanks, he thought about why he was grateful. When you think about the reason why you're grateful for a particular thing, person or situation, you will feel gratitude more deeply. Remember that the magic of gratitude happens according to the degree of your feeling. So with each item on your list, write the reason why you're grateful for it. Here are some ideas for writing your list. I am truly blessed to have what, because why. I am so happy and grateful for what, because why. I am truly grateful for what, because why. With all my heart, thank you for what, because why. After you finish making your list of 10 blessings, go back and read each one, either in your mind or out loud. When you get to the end of each blessing, say the magic words 3 times, thank you, thank you, thank you, and feel the gratitude for that blessing as much as you possibly can. It just keeps going on, it gives you magic gratitude subjects: health and body, work and success, money, relationships, passions, happiness, love, life, nature, planet Earth, air, water, and the sun, material goods and services, and any subject of your choosing. And pardon me, make sure to read tomorrow's magical practice sometime today, as you will need to do something specific before you begin tomorrow. And then it gives you an overview at the end of each chapter that tells you what to do. Right down to, day 28. And it's just, and then the last chapter says the magic never ends. So it's just one of those that the reason I do this with my my team, my oil team, is because a lot of the time they'd never done anything like this before.
Yeah.
And this is just something that's really easy to pick up. It's just one chapter a day. One of them is to go out and get a rock, and you paint a rock.
Yeah, beautiful.
That kind of thing. Yeah, like when I have a look in here at mine and how I've, like, the things that I'm grateful for, the things that and how you write it all out, the whole bit, it's just amazing. Yeah, it's a very good practice to get into. A very good book.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's really about just finding what works best for you.
Yeah. But that's only just one. If you wanted to do something else, you can go and listen to an audiobook. What we were talking about, Matthew McConaughey and Green Lights. It's I've really enjoyed listening to that. I've got the book and I started to read it, and it's got a bookmark in there where I haven't continued on with it, but the audio book just flows, and I love it because it's just
me too.
It's so good.
But he's just a character to listen to.
Yeah, but it's the same principles.
Absolutely.
Look for the green light. The green light's the gratitude.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Absolutely. And yeah, that's right. Focusing on the good in your life as opposed to not focusing on the good in your life.
Yeah. And then you're looking at other things, like if we're talking about what I've done, I have people in my circle, people in my corner, I call it. I've been seeing Yan Ping for 13 years. This is a new chiropractor that I've been going to now for, this will be 3 years. My original osteo that I was going to, I used to go to him a lot. He went back to England. So now I've got a new osteo. So I'm starting a new journey with her, that she will come into the fold to know who I am and how my body works and all the rest of it. I do my stretching, my rubber band every day, which is my yoga. I have a naturopath. I have my essential oils. And all of this is practicing every day. Like I put first thing in the morning, I get up. I do, and this is, I'll just give you an overview of what my morning ritual is. I do my gratitude straight away. 3 things before I even get out of bed. Don't write them down. I just speak them out. I go to the loo, which is one of the things I'm grateful for. I scrape my tongue. I oil my body with organic sesame seed oil. I go and sit on my meditation cushion, and I meditate. I have my journal there to write the things down that come out of that. I then start to stretch. I get in the shower. I have a shower to wash all the oil off. Come out of the bathroom. and I put all of my diffusers on. Now I've got 8 diffusers in the house. So I walk around with a jug of water and whatever oils I'm choosing for the day, and I put all of those in.
Yeah.
I then, now that I've got a new puppy, I'll either take him for a walk and then come back and cook breakfast, but I'll go in and I'll make a hot cup of tea to take with me, with just got a drop of lemon in there. I'll take all my nutritionals for the day, which at the moment is preceded by my hormone program that I'm on. And then I cook myself a healthy breakfast every morning. I do not believe in starting the day with a sweet breakfast, because it sets us up for that white poison, the addiction to the sweet, for the rest of the day. That is my morning. And everyone says, oh, you know, it must take you ages. It doesn't. It doesn't. When you start to do all of that on a regular basis, it's like, I don't do 90 minutes of yoga.
Yes.
I'll do 15 minutes to 30 minutes of meditation and 30 minutes of yoga.
Yep. Yep.
The stuff that I do beforehand has taken me the guts of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Stuff that I do after takes me, you know, up until I get in the shower to put the diffusers on to cook my breakfast. It's probably an hour. If I put a walk in there, it's an hour and a half.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like for me, it's my daily ritual is I'm back on my lemon tea, which is great. I've started back onto that because I knew, you know, like, and I think that came from our last podcast, where I had actually had a bit of an aha, where I had to kick myself up the arse and say, you know, you've let all this drop and yet you're teaching people to do this. So get back on the wagon. So, you know, I've been having my lemon tea again, and I now cut up a couple of lemons at a time and I put in the fridge, and I'm all about making it easy for myself. You know, like it's about making it that it's not going to take me a long time. Before I get out of bed of a morning, I'm listening to either motivational stuff, or I'm always doing a meditation morning and night. For me, sitting in my meditation, my massage chair is really important. I try and do that as often as I can as well.
Yeah.
Getting out in the fresh air with my dogs and laughing, and Wendy herself has a little puppy as well. So the joy of that, you know, and getting in my journal, they're really big important things. And my dogs are inside. Can you hear that? I'm really sorry, everyone. I hope you can't hear that.
No.
Oh, good. Yes, you can now. My husband's going for a ride on the motorbike, and they actually think their legs are being chopped off right now because they're not out there.
Well, I can't hear them, so that's okay.
Oh, well, you're lucky because they sound like their legs are being chopped off. Yeah, very naughty puppies. But you have to work out what works for you.
Yeah, you do. And you know, I did some work with a girl a couple of weeks ago. She's got a young family, and like I said to her, she was finding that she was staying up until midnight, not going to bed at a reasonable hour, but staying up just in front of the TV until, you know, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then in the mornings she was really exhausted. And I said, what's stopping you from going to bed when your husband says, you know, I'm going to bed? Nothing. Try it.
Yeah.
Try it. Go in, put a meditation on and rest your body. And then in the morning, you can get up an hour before the littlies, and that's your time. That's your time. And, you know, she's been doing that. And she came back to me and she said it's a noticeable difference just in her day.
Good on her. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
But that's like I was telling you before we actually started the podcast, the friend of mine that has gone back to the basics on Louise Hay work.
Yeah.
Literally right back to the basics. And I'm talking, you know, the mirror work, and she's spending 30 days on one particular affirmation.
Yeah.
And actually telling yourself, probably, you know, as many times as you can, but most particularly at least 3 times a day. So morning, lunchtime and evening. And she has said she cannot believe the unbelievable difference in her soul by just doing. It's costing her nothing. Yeah. Just like you were saying with your young lady, it's costing her nothing. But without that, it is costing you your health.
And that state of overwhelm,
Yeah.
because she was getting up in the morning and she was like, run, 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 and oh, I'm so overwhelmed, I can't get everything done. But you're setting yourself up for feeling that way.
Well, she's already overstretched before her day starts.
Yes. Well, she's waking up with the children, and the children are, or they're waking her up, and she's feeling like she's behind the 8 ball before she even starts, and
Because, as we know, children are demanding from the minute they open their eyes. Bing, I want.
yeah. And they're only little people. They've only been on this earth for however many days. And it literally is just days. It's not years. We say that they are, they might be 5 years old, they might be 4 years old, but equate that to days, because it's still only like 1,300 days.
And I just watched my granddaughter, my grandson's 7 now, and it's just like in a blink of an eye, he's 7.
Yeah.
And my granddaughter is 18. Well, she's probably more than 18 months now. But she is talking and communicating, and like some of the stuff she's doing, she actually she did get her brother in trouble the other day, until her mother realised. Mother went back and watched it, and it was like, yeah, no, you've just got him in trouble, you little bugger. But in the blink of an eye, that little person is no longer that little person, and you just have to try and embrace all that time, don't you?
Yeah, make the most of it and be prepared to enjoy it. That's what it is. That's the preparation time for you to enjoy these little souls that you've been blessed with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because unfortunately you do. I didn't get up earlier. I stayed up later. So my girls had a very strict bedtime. And so when they went to bed, that was my time to catch up on what I needed to catch up on. Yeah. And that was really important to me. It was really important to me. I needed that. Otherwise, like you were saying about your client, I was always feeling like I was behind the 8 ball. And you're just always feeling like you're running, trying to catch up to where you should be.
Well, I married a shearer. So I did both. I used to, when they went to bed, they had an 8 o'clock bedtime, and after that was my time to get things done. And then, I would get up in the morning, and my thing was to go for a walk. My mum, or it was my time to exercise. My mum would come down. She was only 5 houses down the street, which was really handy. Yeah. But she would come down and bring, I'd make her a cup of tea at my house, and she'd sit with the kids, with them still in bed, while I did my walk, and I'd come home, and then she would go home. And by then it was time to, I'd make sure that I had lunches done before I even got the kids out of bed.
Yes. It just makes a big difference. I would always lay their clothes out the night before. I would always, and as much as I sometimes just fell into bed, they were little things that I just did the night before to make my life so much. Their bags were kept, if they were school, their bags were packed. My girls both went to daycare. So when they were in daycare, their bags were packed, ready to go. It was basically, it also helped remove that stress of forgetting things, because once I put the kids to bed, I had that time to unwind a bit myself and then focus on the things I needed to do. Once that was done, I would then have some time for me, and then quite often fall into bed. But I think really managing your time really is about managing your mindset, because if you are rush, and always that headless chook, you're running in fight and flight mode all the time, and that is not self-care.
Well, listen to the self-talk that's going, I've never got enough time. I'm always late. I'm like, I haven't got a time. Yeah. I won't get that done. I haven't got enough time to do that. I've got to do this now. That little Freddie that sits on the shoulder is just fully engaged in just reminding you that your day is chaos, and it doesn't need to be chaos. It doesn't. You make a choice. You can be empowered to make a choice.
And just even you talking like that, it's like, oh God, that's such heavy energy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. But that's
sometimes you just have to.
That's what we're listening to when we're in that state. That's going on in here.
Yes. And you can see why people struggle to cope.
Yeah.
You just have to we always hear about saying no to others. We've got to say no to ourselves sometimes as well.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Be less busy.
I am guilty. I have to say no to me because, I'll have this happening and that happening and that happening. I just want to consume all this stuff. It's like, hang on, woo up.
Yeah.
Woo up and give yourself a break.
Yes.
And
love the living.
Yeah. And I, my thing with the mastermind, which is something I've had to learn, just one thing.
Yes. And
just focus on just one thing.
I'm a bugger for going down rabbit holes, but I always hear your voice, just one thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, get yourself out of that hole, come back. Where were you? Focus. And I really have to work with my mind and talk myself back into the state where I was. Yeah. Because otherwise I am sitting there going down 5 million rabbit holes and then going, the day's over and I haven't even done what I needed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're frustrated. And that can be a very easy thing as a solopreneur to do because you're working for you.
And not only that, when you start to go down those rabbit holes, it's like, oh, I need to put that in. So how do I do that? Oh, I've got to go and find out how to do that. Oh, I need that. Oh, well, I haven't got the tech for that. I don't understand that. I have to go and find out how to do that. And it just becomes out of control. It just
20 tabs open on your computer at once. I'm really good at closing all my tabs now too. I always go, no, get out. And it's like I'm at myself back up. It's like I'm reversing up in the car. Get up. Where were you? Go back to that and start again.
Yeah. Yeah. Good on you. But it is. That's life. That's, others, call it multitasking. Mothers, coming up to Mother's Day, and people will say it's multitasking where mum's got, she's got the washing on, she's cooking cooking breakfast for the kids and trying to tidy up and fold and washing and having a conversation with hubby or it might be on the phone at the same time, and it's like, woo,
yes,
woo up, just be mindful. Mindful washing up
is not healthy.
No.
And sometimes when you multitask too much or with too many things, you're actually not going to do all of those things the best you could if you actually just took a breath, stepped back and focused on one and got it out of the way and the next one and got it out of the way. Because otherwise you're half here and half there and a bit here and a bit there and you're all over the shop, and then that creates your monkey mind all over again.
Well, I mean, even now, when I'm in the kitchen cooking, I'll have phone calls that will come in and it's like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to get tangled up with that because I've got to, mindfully, I want to put love into this food. I want to be cooking this food and making sure that I'm present with this so that it doesn't, I'm not serving up burnt offerings or,
you're putting the love.
Yeah.
You're actually creating a meal with love, and that's really important as well. Yeah. I must admit, from our just one thing, the phone would ring and it was just an automatic thing that I should answer it. The phone rang, I would answer it. But probably one of my big just one things has come from that is where if the phone rings, it doesn't mean I have to answer it. What it means is I have to finish what's in front of me, because if it's really urgent what someone needs to know, they will text me immediately anyway, or they will just keep ringing.
Yeah.
And so then I can deal with that. But otherwise, I was finding I'd go off and answer that phone call and then I wouldn't come back to where I left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was just, for me, it was, I'd be dishing dinner up and still on the phone call.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not good, is it? You
can't sit down by yourself. Like,
I'm sure most of us can say, yeah, okay, I've done that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've been, tech is wonderful, but geez, we've been so bloody we've been available. We've been approachable. We've been, we're contactable at any given moment, aren't we? Really?
I was a bit naughty last night. I actually was texting people at 10:30 at night because I was catching up on stuff, which to me is like so unprofessional. But I just went, if I leave that to the morning, that's still that I have to, and I just needed to do it. I just needed to get, hopefully they had their phones on silent and hopefully I didn't wake anybody. Those that were up responded, and I just said to them, look, I'll get back to you in the morning. I, straight away put that one thing. I was basically, some of them I hadn't answered for 4 days because I had been very busy. And so sometimes you might have to do that, but you've actually, you have to actually create a way of making yourself less busy. And that usually is by stopping that multitasking, because we are octopuses.
Mm-hmm. We're women.
Yes.
And that's what we, sometimes that's a badge of honour that people wear. So, got so much on.
Commit to yourself of one task at a time. Just commit to that one thing and get it done quicker and better.
Yeah.
And then you can tick it off and move forward. I do my best work when I allow myself the time to just focus on one thing.
Yes. Yep.
And I think it really is. It's about allowing yourself, giving yourself
because
permission.
you're present. You're just giving all of you to that one thing.
You absolutely are. You absolutely, and you probably feel less busy as well. So one of the big important things that I learnt under time management too was do the hardest, biggest thing first.
Mm-hmm.
As much as it may be difficult and time consuming, having that, and my tax has been amazing, that's been a perfect example. What a relief once I'd done that. Imagine when I actually got into it, it didn't take that long at all.
Yeah.
How insane that I left it for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do the swerve around it because it's just like too hard.
But how much stress did I put myself under? How much beating up did I do? How much none of that is self-care. None of that was self-care whatsoever.
Oh, it's like pulling a Band-Aid off.
Yeah, it is.
When we don't just get in and focus on the one thing and just get it done and like that, just rip it off. But instead we'll pull it hair by hair, and it's just like so bloody painful. It's creating within us like a discomfort similar to that. So yeah.
That's like having a to-do list that's a mile long.
And then a to-do list to do the
Yes.
to-do list.
Yes.
It's like I have a look at my to-do list, and I do have one every day. I write that out the night before of what I've got to do the next day, and it's never it's never a mile long. It's just very.
It shouldn't be your dumping ground for all this. It should not. It should just be. I try and do 3 to 5, depending on how difficult the task is. I try and focus on, because I like to tick that off. I like to cross that out.
Yeah.
That feels good. That really makes you feel good when you can go, right, that one's done.
Well, mine at the moment, I've had to complete some forms do the emails, check on some online stuff, do the podcast, and then I've got one module that I've got to watch in one of my training courses.
Yeah.
And then I'm off to the chiropractor.
Yep.
So they're the kinds of things. Like I just put like the things that I know that have got to be done for that day. And then that's the urgent stuff that I know that I've really got to get done for the day, or I really want to get done for the day.
Yes.
And then I've still got hours to do stuff that I might choose to do.
Yes. Well, then you can actually pick something else off the list without putting too much pressure on yourself. You're getting
that out of the road, so your creative mind is able to do. Like at the moment, I want to create stuff.
That's right.
If I've still got all this stuff, you still got to send that email, you still got to fill that format, you still got to do that. What creation comes out of that?
It really is about just identifying your clutter, isn't it?
Yeah.
That clutter that you got going on in that mind.
Yeah.
And if you put too much on you at the end of the day, especially for, soulpreneurs like us and entrepreneurs as well, if your boss actually gave you that much on your to-do list, you would be challenging it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, I know all our listeners aren't soulpreneurs, but it's no different.
Well, as a mum, If
That's right.
you're still I mean, that's the most important job in the house.
Yes, yes.
You know, and that to-do list, you got to be forgiving. Like you
Well,
don't.
Mum is a solopreneur, really, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's just unpaid.
Yeah. Yes, very undervalued.
Yes.
Not always, not always.
Well, yeah, and you know, we might do something special in the lead up to Mother's Day, as a special for mums,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's I'm not going to say it's a thankless task because that's not true.
No,
I think it
absolutely
is the
not.
most I think it really is something to cherish.
It is. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter whether you're a mum to a skin child or a fur child or however your family looks and however you are a mum.
Yeah.
You know, these days it's so diverse as to how you can be a mum.
Yeah.
And so it's about looking after yourself. And as we said, you know, on the lead up to Mother's Day, I guess my big question is, how are you looking after yourself? Are you giving yourself what you need? Or is what you need what you needed before and not what you need now?
Mm-hmm. Are you pivoting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you maximizing your time and giving yourself the kindness you deserve?
Yeah, and giving yourself permission to make
Yes.
any different changes. Yeah.
Yes, to eliminate what's not working for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it might be a permission to clean out for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
So on that note, we might
Wrap it up.
yeah, and we will please do like and follow us on our socials, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you know, you've got access to us on Spotify, and we've got a website through that you'll be able to find through Acast, and our selflovesummit.com.au, which is where you'll find, if you want to drop us an email, you can do so at hello@theselflovesummit.com.au. And we would love to hear from you if there's something that you'd like us to have a little bit of a chat about, to give our spin on things, because you know, we're not going to say we're right or wrong, but you know, just as a topic for us to be able to discuss it for you, then we'd love to. So yeah. So Sharon, thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. It's always a pleasure. I just love hanging out with you on Wednesdays.
Fantastic. And I will see you next week.
Take care, everyone. Huge hugs. Bye for now.